Hi, I'm Gisela, and I have Peter here with me to do episode 6 of our podcast. So today we are going to be talking about a recent poll that was released by Gallup. It's Americans' views of 25 industries ranked from positive to negative sentiment. So can you guess which was at the bottom of the list?
I can't because I already know.
Do you remember them?
Yes, I do actually. It's not a surprise given
No.
the opioid crisis and the crazy prices we pay for drugs. Is that the pharmaceutical industry was dead last?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was followed by, I think, the federal government, and then there was one other thing, and then it was the advertising agency, and above advertising was actually oil. There we go. So I was really surprised that oil ranked higher than advertising. That's kind of crazy to me.
I'm always a little bit baffled about like my chosen profession is ranked so low, like big oil and all the environmental damage that they're doing, and that advertising is a notch below that and only 3 notches above like the pharma industry.
Yeah.
But you know what? If you go back to what is it, 10 years ago when this report was done, ad agencies actually has always been this low. It's I guess a little bit historical context, is into play, right? Like the whole advertising industry, always had, I guess, this reputation of being manipulative, of like forcing people to buy things that they don't need. Con men, of course, right? Gets kind of ruins it for all of us, right? Snake oil peddlers back in the early days when things weren't regulated, they were selling these tonics, right? Elixirs that purported to solve everything from your sex drive to like curing cancer and the common cold all in one bottle. And of course it was just made with castor oil and a few other really bad ingredients to make it taste like medicine, right? So I do think from a very beginning, advertisers, maybe it's a minority of them, but it doesn't matter. We're all lumped up into the same thing. And I think today it's kind of the same thing, whether or not it's being produced by advertising or professional marketers, or whether or not it's the fault of, let's say, Facebook, for example, or foreign actors that are trying to infiltrate our democratic system with like false fake ads. Is that really an advertising agency creating fake ads for Russia? But either way, I think the whole industry is going through a very interesting time. It's not just the nature of it. I just think it's the lack of trust in it goes back to that, right? Can people trust what's being put out there? And beyond just trust, I don't know about you, but how annoying has advertising gotten? And I hate to say that.
It is.
But it's gotten pretty annoying, especially now that we're carrying devices that carry advertising along with it. Right? Whether it's pop-up ads, banner ads, interruption ads when you're watching a middle of a very, very engaging YouTube video, and it just, it just interrupts you.
Yeah, not a good look for our industry.
No, for sure.
So how do you think we can improve it? What can the industry do now?
Look, I think it's a wake-up call for the industry. And I don't know whether or not everyone even realize it. I think they're just doing their jobs, quite frankly. And I think that's what's gotten us into this place because, we talked about in episode 1, what is the perception of marketing? And marketing is perceived as, I can do marketing in the 8-hour e-course. Right? Yes. That's what it's come down to. We've literally gotten to the very lowest point where people are equating the profession of marketing into an 8-hour class.
Yeah.
Okay. So when that is what people think marketing is a bunch of dashboards and algorithms and optimizing and more optimizing, then this is what you're gonna get. Right? You're gonna get stuff like this where just annoys people. And because technology, the nature of technology, automation, right? People talk about that. Automation pushes costs down so that when the cost of sending out 1 million emails is literally pennies on the dollar, then what is the disincentive of someone sending out 1 million emails that may convert 1%, right? But you're actually annoying 99% of your audience. But they don't care because all they see is that I can report to my boss and tell them that I just sent out, I just converted, 1%. And you're like, great job, Joe, good job, here's your bonus.
Yeah.
But then what they don't tell you is that you just annoyed 99% of those people, and a good chunk of that may unsubscribe you permanently. Okay, so the unintended consequences of this type of marketing behavior in the digital age, I think it's something that this industry needs to look at themselves in the mirror and says, are we actually earning trust of our clients, or are we actually doing things that are really what marketing should be doing, so that we can rank maybe 2 spots higher above oil at least, right? And I think there are ways, right? It goes back to what we talked about with brand experience. It's delight your audience, surprise them in ways they don't expect to be surprised, produce a campaign, if you will, produce a video. If you're going to do that, like kind of what we're doing now, make sure you're doing it with the right heart, right? That you're actually bettering and positioning your products and services in the way where it really is about helping your audience or your consumer move ahead in life. You're actually bettering them. I think the beauty of marketing is that it's highly, highly innovative if we choose it to be. It's actually a very, very powerful tool. I would say it's as powerful as the best technology we have. It's just not recognized as such. If people put an amount of investment into coming up with the right creative idea or the right storytelling method, I think it can be as powerful as any app that you can put out there. It'll get all the coverage and the glory, but actually if you market something that's amazing, just think about this. If you came out with the most amazing product in the world, but if you market it in the worst way possible, what do you think is going to happen to that amazing product?
Gone.
It's all about context and framework about how you do this, right? So I do think the marketing industry needs to reflect and reprioritize what our jobs really are, right? And to put out work that actually delights people, and I think they'll get a better response.
I'd like to rewind and go back to the issue of trust that you mentioned, about how historical practice and even current practices in the digital age have really eroded people's trust in advertising. So can you tell me a little bit more about the kind of strategies the industry should use as a whole to kind of boost that trust again?
A little bit on the this is marketing and advertising agencies, which we're kind of in that realm as well. But I think if you look at let's just take America for example, right? We're actually a very multicultural country, right? And I think a lot of times that what this industry is being accused of is being a little bit of tone deaf, right? Or very monolithic in the way it portrays things. And even if it does try to do more multicultural efforts, it's seen as a little bit forced, right? It's like, when's the last, we've all seen ads where it's like, oh my God, it's this perfect cornucopia of diversity, but it also looks super fake. It's like the most beautiful people and all these different ethnic background colors. It's nice, but it's just not authentic, right? So I do think where this industry can self-cure itself and kind of right the boat is it starts with the beginning. It starts with hiring, right? It starts with having a culture of diversity, having a culture of respect for other groups and their opinions, and that starts with hiring. It starts with HR and hiring women, right, and putting women in the right decision-making levels. It's hiring different backgrounds of people, Hispanic, Asians, as planners, as creative people, so that when you're coming up with creative ideas, you're not going to make obvious fumbling faux pas like some brands do with some of their creative efforts, which is just outrageous after the fact, right? Those are the things that continue to ruin this industry's reputation. The fact that it's so tone deaf that it itself congratulates itself in Cannes, France, right? But at the same time, they're winning awards, but are they actually delivering results for their clients, right? So I do think that this industry has room for self-reflection.
Definitely.
But also, don't let digital make our jobs as marketers and advertisers a job where it's just pushing buttons and being lazy.
Yeah. I think a really good takeaway from this whole poll is that every year these numbers and rankings fluctuate. You know, it's the relationship people have with these industries is ongoing.
Of course. That's a great point.
Yeah. you could have, like, your audience could love and trust your brand or industry today, but you make a mistake and, the trust goes down. So
I think every brand, if it does it right, like, for example, I mean, just in the last year, I'm sure if you look at the ranking 3 years ago, the internet industry would have ranked a lot higher because people are thinking, oh, what an amazing tool to bring families and groups together about over common values. But then after Cambridge, with Facebook and all those fake ads, their ranking has also fallen precipitously in the course of just a year. Now, whether or not they can recover is a whole different matter. But, if they put a conscious effort, even I think pharma, if they do the right thing, could probably see a lift in their rankings as well. But even airlines, like, for example, United Airlines and all the crap that the airline industry gets about their customer service ranks higher than advertising. Can you imagine? Right?
It's really sad.
Right. You can kick off someone bloodied off a plane, and you could still be ranked higher than what we do as a profession, which is wow.
It's crazy. Yeah, well, and another interesting thing that I noted about the rankings is that one industry that's ranked consistently high is the restaurant industry.
Yeah.
And I think that's really interesting because the restaurant industry is all about forming relationships with customers. Right. It's all about that human-to-human interaction. So even in today's age, it kind of shows that people really value the human connection.
That's fantastic to bring up. I think, my operating theory is that the more marketing it becomes digital, the more valuable real human connections are.
Yeah.
So, we talked about the Taco Bell hotel and how experiential, taking people out of their comfort of their homes and actually going out and touching, feeling something.
Yeah.
I think those memories, those experiences are becoming much more valued than not, right? That's why restaurants have become the thing, that younger people, and I think across generations are willing to spend on. I mean, if you look at the budgets of most millennials and Gen Z, and if you put it in a pie chart, I would suspect that the majority of their discretionary spending is on experiences, whether it's the lattes or vacations or travel or concerts, right? Oh my God, the concert industry is exploding, I think, because of the millennials, right? Because they're willing to spend on those memories that they just value. Because look, digital is not a reflection of real life, even though it's our lifestyle, right? There is still that, we're still human beings. We're made of flesh and bones, right? We're imperfect, but that's what makes us human. Whereas digital, makes things so logical constantly, and we're yearning for something unexpected.
Yeah,
that
definitely.
makes sense, right? Yeah.
I guess to sum it up, I think the main takeaway of this episode is the industry really needs to start developing more trust with its customers, not the customers, but people in general.
Yeah.
Be better marketers, be better humans. And
let me also add one final point to that. I think if this industry wants to become much more respected and recognized, I think it needs to stop trying to chase its own tail, right?
Right.
I think as in advertising, for example, even marketing, for example, it's slowly devolved away from producing great work to always try to optimize. Right?
Yeah.
Optimization isn't gonna get you respected. It's just gonna make you fill in the average. You're just gonna hone in on the middle, right? Whereas if you're gonna produce great work and not everyone does, then that's why it's called great. You're gonna have to play within the fringes. You're gonna have to really focus on a narrow audience that is really passionate about your stuff, right? On both ends of the spectrum, and really surprise into that core audience, right? And I think you'll gain respect. So don't try to play the game of optimization, because you're never going to beat Google. You're not going to create the next social media platform like Facebook. So we should focus back on how to do one thing very, very well, which is delight and surprise and trust.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
We're going to add a link to the poll in the show notes, so check it out. You can play around and see how the industries have been ranked over time, so it's a pretty fun thing to do. So that's it for this week's show. Once again, thank you, Sparko, for sponsoring the podcast. You can check out Sparko at sparko.com. And if you enjoyed this episode, please let us know in the comments, or let us know what you think about the advertising industry and why it's ranked so poorly. No offense, but hopefully you learned a little bit. You learned something about how the industry can improve, and that it's prompting you to become a better marketer. And be sure to click subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And we'll catch you next time.